Welcome to the SVG-TV news for Monday, March 21st. I'm Kyle Cato with the details. It is time for the government of SVG to re-examine its minimum wage and consider implementing a formal unemployment insurance program. This is the view of Vincentian economist and a lecturer at the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus, Dr. Delano D'Souza. Dr. D'Souza told SVG-TV News that he is concerned about the low wages being offered in the country, pointing out that SVG has one of the lowest wage rates in the Eastern Caribbean. Dr. D'Souza said the low-income earners especially are the ones being affected.
We know wages in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is among the lowest in the region. So that remains a concern for me. I think it continues to rob our country of some of our brightest, and even in terms of helping the lower income persons progress in terms of their lives, that remains a concern. We've seen Barbados, we've seen Haiti. Even Haiti recently raised their minimum wage. We've seen Jamaica last week or week before increase their minimum wage as well. So these are conversations that we have to have, because at the end of the day, those persons at the lower income, those are the ones being hurt most. Yeah. And so, we have to have that conversation in terms of trying to protect them, because it cannot be that their protection has to come in the form of welfare payouts and government handouts and so all the time. We have to empower them via the jobs that they have, and we have to make sure they're earning enough that they're able to have savings to back themselves up if they lose their jobs and so on.
Dr. D'Souza also said SVG already struggles with a high rate of unemployment, which has been made worse by the COVID-19 pandemic. He said an unemployment benefit system would protect workers from global economic shocks, as well as those who are seasonally employed.
Even beyond the pandemic, we've seen that at St. Vincent and the Grenadines, along with a lot of the other OECS countries, have had to implement temporary unemployment insurance or unemployment benefits, as we would call it. And it's been a tremendous help to a lot of people. But it cannot be going forward that we have to wait for the government to pass special legislation to have this done. It should be built in. And of course, it's going to come at a cost. Contributions might have to go up by a little bit, as it did in Barbados, as it did in the Bahamas, and so on. But by and large, we've seen in Barbados, we've seen in the Bahamas the benefit of this, as it particularly in terms of economic shocks, particularly in terms of seasonal employment that we have a lot of in some of our countries in the region. And so I think that's something that perhaps we need to be looking at as well.
Many persons across St. Vincent and the Grenadines were seen today wearing mismatched socks, and some were highlighted on social media in commemoration of World Down Syndrome Day, observed under the theme Inclusion Means. World Down Syndrome Day, March 21st, is a global awareness day which has been officially observed by the United Nations since 2012. In an address to mark the occasion, Director of Social Protection in the Ministry of Social Development, Odelia Thomas, outlined the significance of the day.
Down syndrome occurs when an individual has an extra partial or whole copy of chromosome 21. In December 2011, the General Assembly of the United Nations declared the 21st of March as World Down Syndrome Day. The estimated incidence of Down syndrome is between 1 in 1,000 to 1 in 1,100 live births worldwide. Each year, approximately 3,000 to 5,000 children are born with this chromosome disorder. The quality of life of people with Down syndrome can be improved by meeting their healthcare needs, including regular checkups with health professionals to monitor mental and physical conditions and to provide timely intervention, be it physiotherapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, counseling, or special education.
Thomas said persons living with Down syndrome can still achieve an optimal quality of life through parental care and support.
Medical guidance and community-based support systems, such as inclusive education at all levels. This facilitates their participation in mainstream society and the fulfillment of their personal potential. For World Down Syndrome Day 2022, we are asking, what does inclusion mean? What can we do? Think about what inclusion means. Think about your daily life. When you take part in activities like school, work, recreation, or public life alongside other people. Are we including persons with Down syndrome? Together, we can empower people around the world and in our country of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to advocate for full inclusion in society for people with Down syndrome and for everyone.
At the Gome Methodist School today, teacher Melissa Cordes took the opportunity to educate her students about World Down Syndrome Day and about persons living with Down syndrome. Cordes tells the students that though persons with Down syndrome have extra chromosomes, they are special and unique, and they should not be discriminated against.
Today is World Down Syndrome Day. This day was established by the United Nations in 2012 to bring awareness to Down syndrome people. And today we're wearing mismatched socks to show that they're shaped like chromosomes, and Down syndrome people have one extra chromosome. I remember when I came this morning, the children laughed at my socks, but during our devotion assembly, I explained to them, some were still laughing, but at the end they realized that Down syndrome persons are special and unique, and that's the idea of the whole day, to bring awareness to their uniqueness and to have them being included in education and every other aspect of life.
The students who wore mismatched socks in commemoration of the day sent some words of love to persons in SVG and across the world who are living with Down syndrome.
Down people are important and special, and we love them.
To represent Down syndrome people, they have an extra chromosome, special, and I love them.
They are so kind, they are friendly.
Down syndrome people have flat face and small eyes. I want to say, you're the best and get the best of luck, and I love you.
I like to say we love you, Down syndrome people, and you're the best and you're unique in your own way.
We love you, Down syndrome people, and that you can do, and that you are your own person and you are unique and safe.
They are friendly and I like to play them.
Not enough is being done to educate Vincentians about national hero Paramount Chief Joseph Chatouillet. This from local historian Dr. Adrian Fraser on SVG-TV's Viewpoint program last evening, discussing the significance of Joseph Chatouillet in our nation's history.
It says here, are we doing enough to commemorate National Heroes Day? My question is, are we doing enough for Chatouillet himself to know about Chatouillet and what Chatouillet stands for? Because that is central to everything. We go and we celebrate, we go and we eat. Some people for the first time in the year would go and eat the local dishes, the Garifuna dishes, and they forget that until the next day. That doesn't make sense. So I am saying, have we been doing enough about Chatouillet himself, what he stood for? Because to me, thinking of having another national hero without doing justice to Chatouillet is something which we need to look at.
Lawyer and social commentator Jomo Thomas, who agreed with Dr. Fraser's views, suggested that Caribbean history be taught as a mandatory subject in schools across SVG.
I think Dr. Fraser is absolutely right. But you see, I think the larger question in my mind, beyond the what are we doing for Chatouillet, is whether we have a national consciousness as to Chatouillet's place in our history. And if we don't have that national consciousness and don't have a real appreciation for his role in terms of fighting for the patrimony of St. Vincent, fighting to maintain
what he stood for,
independence, fighting to ensure that the British colonialists didn't overrun us, the serious battles of 1763 and 1791 up until he was assassinated. If we don't have that, I think we're gonna really fall short. I think part of the problem we have in terms of the issue of national hero and Chatouillet is that in the Caribbean, we don't have a single country that teaches Caribbean history as a mandatory subject. Know their history, they don't have an understanding of their history, don't have an understanding of their place in the world. And if you don't do that, I think that we end up with what Dr. Fraser is talking about, that we have one, we don't even know him, and we are now thinking about going for 2 or 3 or how many others.
A former Minister of Culture and Chair of the National Heroes Advisory Committee, Rene Batiste, says it's unfortunate to see how little interest is now being paid to learning about our local, that should be our national hero, and history as a people.
In 2001, when I was given charge of the Ministry of Culture, and to go through the draft legislation that was there to declare the Order of National Heroes, I was so excited about this because I have a love for history. And in my discussions with ministry and also cabinet colleagues, I said we should have a whole month dedicated as National Heroes and Heritage Months, and to engage the heritage clubs and other similar organizations. There used to be even a history teachers organization at one time. And I recall going to lectures at the Squash Complex with Dr. Edgar Adams. Used to have a lecture at the Squash Complex talking about local history. Dr. Fraser, on more than one occasion, did lectures there. And so doing that before I became minister, it was part of what I thought, let's go back to these lectures. I recall when we had lectures at UE, when Dr. Kenneth John was the chief tutor, head tutor. There used to be so many of these lectures. So I thought having a month where you can focus in on history and heritage and heroes, even the name of various villages, how those villages got their names, how were they derived, so that you could start a conversation about local history.
Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding a fire that destroyed a 16 by 18-foot two-bedroom wooden house and its contents at Daphne yesterday. Police say preliminary investigations revealed that Andre Woods, a 42-year-old laborer, was reportedly cooking on his gas stove. He later exited the house and went to do some work in the yard. Woods claimed that on his return to the house, he saw smoke and fire in the kitchen area. He attempted to put the fire out by using a water hose but was unsuccessful. Officers from the fire department responded to the scene and extinguished the blaze. The house and its contents, valued at $88,100, were destroyed. Yesterday's incident is the second home to be gutted by fire for the month of March. On March 15th, Marcel Batiste, a Murray's Village resident, also lost her house to fire. The Anti-Trafficking in Persons Unit of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force is celebrating its 10th anniversary this month. The unit was established on March 7, 2012 by then Commissioner of Police Keith Miller and was launched 1 month later on April 7th. Head of the unit, Assistant Superintendent of Police Junior Simmons, said that over the years the unit has celebrated several milestones.
First of all, we are sensitized, I would say the entire populace of St. Vincent and Grenadines about human trafficking. Prior to that, human trafficking was not known in St. Vincent and Grenadines. We went to every primary, secondary schools and also the A-level college, community college, and we sensitized the teachers and the students. We have also trained and sensitized other stakeholders, police officers, nurses, immigration officers, public servants, members of the NGO communities, civic groups, social groups, community groups. We have also established what we call a memorandum of understanding between critical stakeholders to combat human trafficking. Stakeholders like the Financial Intelligence Unit, the Immigration Department, Customs and Excise, the SVG Coast Guard, Gender Affairs, the Labor Department, the DPP's office. We have also, because of the work of the Trafficking in Persons Unit, St. Vincent and Grenadines was able to maintain our Tier 2 ranking on the United States Global Trafficking Persons Report for the past 5 consecutive years.
ASP Simmons said the unit aims to have SVG achieve Tier 1 status, which is the highest ranking in combating human trafficking, but acknowledged it would not be easy, as it requires having a lot of resources and also arresting and convicting human traffickers. The unit head, however, noted that SVG does not have a major human trafficking problem, and this can be attributed to public sensitization, which focuses on prevention.
I think we are covering our bases very well. Since the last reports of the possibility of intention being trafficked to UK and other countries. We have stepped up our game, our awareness raising campaign. We've been going to different communities, and corporate uppers, we speak to this more. As a matter of fact, we partnered with the SVG Red Cross, where we went to the Grenadines in the rural communities, north, east and northwest, and central as well, where we sensitize Red Cross volunteers and other residents about human trafficking. So Red Cross has been a very good partner of us over the years, and we are very happy to work along with them.
ASP Simmons spoke of the activities that the unit has scheduled to commemorate its 10th year of existence, which he said will be held for 1 week.
On April 7th, and on that day, we'll be having a virtual lecture, and the 8th, we will be having an exhibition to raise awareness about human trafficking. On Saturday, this will be the April 9th, we'll be having a walk against trafficking. In everything we do, we have to give God thanks.
Amen.
And praise for His grace and His mercies. So we'll be worshiping at the Kingston Baptist Church on Sunday. On the April 11th, we'll be having a seminar on understanding and combating human trafficking for media practitioners and journalists. And then on Tuesday, April 12th, we will be doing several lectures throughout the country at the different schools. April 13th, we will be doing several lectures in churches.
The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Planned Parenthood Association is open to all and provides services to everyone, men, women, and teens. But there are a number of programs offered that specifically target the youths. This is according to Executive Director Odinger Louis Warner.
We provide services to everybody, the at-risk population, men who have sex with men, female who exchange sex with, for whatever reason they're exchanging sex. Our youth, we have a youth-driven program under the SVPPA. Whatever issues that are there affecting the youths, we have that covered under our YAM program, our Youth Advocacy program. So I just find that our young people, they just need a listening ear. They just need to be involved. They need to be engaged. And it's the opportunities. Because a lot of the times they're being exploited. And coming from the point of view of an organization, I really think that we are in the era of change. And change must come. It has to come. And we can no longer have this one-size-fits-all. It must be, people-centered. So if I'm targeting MSMs, the MSMs must be at the table. If I'm targeting our youths must be at the table. People living with HIV, because we need to know what is it that is affecting them. We sit behind our desk, we don't know what is going on out there. But we make grand proposals to effect change in a community that knows nothing about. If this is the change for SVPPA, then this is the change for SVPPA.
Louis Warner said the society has a major role to play in the upbringing of the youth and what direction they take, noting that negative labels can have an adverse effect on them.
Also is that society has basically put our youths as outcasts. They are delinquents, they are no good and stuff like that. And because of that, our youths tend to act, or they play the part that society has already given them. So when you have groups like ourselves trying to reach or trying to meet their needs, they tend to be standoffish, or they do not have that trust in whatsoever you're trying to present to them, because most times you find organizations like us just walking in with our agenda and not with an agenda that they were a part of.
Midwife and nurse at the association, Sue-Ann Matthews, encouraged young women, particularly those who are with child, to come in and take advantage of the services being offered so that they can empower themselves.
Free HIV testing to our young antenatals who are afraid of going to the public clinic. We would accommodate you here at Planned Parenthood, and there's so much more that we are willing to give to you. Do not stay in a room, do not get depressed, do not get discouraged. Come out, seek assistance, empower yourself so that you could move on. And most of all, do not seek to take your own life, because it's not the end of the road. There is so much more that you will do even after you have a baby. There is so much choices, there's so much options.